Mic check. Mic check. Perfect. Perfect. As you guys know, the markets have been ranging since like Thursday last week, or yeah, about Thursday last week. Nice range here. We sweep these highs, drive into these bearish gaps. And as I mentioned, the past couple days, you want to see shorts from this area here. And so far, we get the short. These shorts are pretty much not not aggressive enough to make you think that we're gonna just trade directly to this low today. So I'm thinking maybe we find some type of bounce in this area here, and then obviously if price is up in this area, I'm looking for shorts. All right, we have this leg lower here that I want to work with for shorts. Maybe we push back up into a discount, something of that nature. Or maybe we just drive into here, sweep out some liquidity, and then continue higher. Do want to post the result from yesterday's trade. YM taking out this previous daily low at the open. Nice. Nice. Previous weekly low right around the corner. That's going to be a good target as well. But yesterday's short was a bit choppy, but here's yesterday's trade. Yeah, I think it was here, right? Yeah. It was somewhere in here, bro. I think it was literally right here, yeah. Yeah, yesterday's short, somewhere in here. Good thing I picked the proper stop. I think it was like this. Let me double check. Here, I'll just post a picture. That'll make it easier. But decent week so far. Haven't had much action, but we've made the most of what has been presented. Yesterday's trade, copy image. Here's the results from yesterday's trade. As I mentioned, if we're in a trade, let's say at 12 p.m. or 12:30 and the trade isn't over, the stream will end at 12:30. But if you guys want the results from the trade, I'll drop the link to the chat room here where all of the trades are updated. So yeah, keep that in mind. And let's see what we can catch today. Let's see what we can catch today. All right, cool. So that's that. We hit that weekly open, which was a big draw for me on ES yesterday. All right, we hit that weekly open and notice the bounce we got in the overnight session. And now look at where we are right now. Price is trading directly into the weekly open, and you're getting some volume off of that weekly open as well. So naturally, like I mentioned, in this gray area, you should essentially expect price to try to push higher. All right. What was this high? This high was on Friday. Oh, that's today. What about Thursday? So we haven't taken out any highs on the daily chart, which should be a red flag, right? Wednesday, we take out a couple highs, but Wednesday's high and Thursday's high are still wide open. So you start looking at the 30-minute chart and you say, well, what is underneath those highs? You at least have these session highs here, and then you have this pre-market high. Oh, no, 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 no. Oh, my goodness. Did not mean to click the sell button. We have these pre-market highs here at 6 a.m. So this will be liquidity as well. Price could drive into here. You see this short-term high. Price could want to take that out before going lower. All that type of stuff, right? So naturally, I'm bearish. As I mentioned, every single day of this year, I've been bearish and I'll continue to be bearish. And if you've been on the stream, you understand why. But let's see. I have to have a neutral bias today because we are selling off pretty aggressively and we're sweeping out this liquidity now. So maybe we get some sort of relief here. We got this fair value gap here. Make sure I note that fair value gap. Nice. Driving into that fair value gap. Beautiful volume. Let the games begin here. Let the games begin. So, first 30 minutes of the market, we saw, well, actually the pre-market, we saw from 9 to 9:30. What happens? We get this beautiful series of down close candles, right? And you would expect this level right here to hold if you're bearish. However, you see this level is not holding. Let's check out NASDAQ. Yep, same profile. Move this over. We're in bullish territory, pushing through. And as I mentioned, these pre-market highs, 6 a.m., will be liquidity. And price could want to sweep this internal high, maybe sweep this internal high, just to offer a sweep, right? And you see that's exactly what's happening, bro. It's almost like if I could find a way to get in on some of these trades right at the open, I'll be in and out of the markets really quick. The first move is really easy lately. It's just hard to get in and catch a safe entry. You see how fast these moves are taking off. But the draw is pretty obvious. So now what I'm waiting for is how does price respond after there it is. All right, we sweep this internal high. Let's see how price responds. Do we get SMT? You know, the whole nine here. Let's see what happens. I'm going to give price a chance to close this first 30 minutes. And then I'll look to zoom down after that. The first 30 minutes of this pre-market here have been completely obliterated. None of this selling pressure held up on a retest. So now you want to wait for a new perspective here, a new range to show. So I will wait for the opening range to form. Let's zoom in on NASDAQ. It looks pretty strong here. I like that. Yeah, I'm going to zoom in on NASDAQ. And let's wait for 10 a.m. All right, so I'll be back at 10 a.m. That's my take, right? I said I wanted to see price show some bullishness from this area here, and then ultimately bearishness from up in this zone if price is able to get back up in here. We have a few liquidity points up in this range that I would love to see swept and then try to trade lower. All right. And also if we aren't able to make it all the way up here, I understand that there are 30-minute imbalances here that price could respect inside of this 6 o'clock range. So this is a 4-hour candle. If you go to the four-hour candle, you'll see that this candle is going to close at 6 a.m. Okay. I'm sorry, at 10 a.m. It opened at 6 a.m. So with that, I understand that there's no wick on top of this 4-hour candle. There's no wick on top of this 30-minute candle. There's a bearish fair value gap. I'll even highlight this candle right here as a point of interest for lower. potentially. If we can't make it all the way up here, this is a good spot for lower. And let's see what we get. Just got to be patient here, let the market shake out those early traders, and then we should start seeing some footprints. All right, cool. So we do have some news on the table. Let's see, man. We got a decent amount of news here. I'll copy this, share it now. Decent amount of news on the table. Flash manufacturing, red. PMI services, red. And then you have new home sales at 10 a.m. and some consumer sentiment. All right, so that these 10 a.m. Folders will definitely have an impact on price. So I can see how price is setting up here. You see 8:30 push lower, 9:45 you're starting to see price climb higher, right back into bearish territory, but you already know the signature of price. Anytime price overextends into bearish or bullish territory, you know you should be expecting a reversal. It's the same profile almost every single day. Either this is going to just rip right through here and keep going, or it's going to literally just slam off of something in this area, similar to all of these false drives higher. Every time price overextends into this zone up in here, what do you notice? We erase that move in no time. And now what's happening? We're overextending similar to this one, right back into the same territory. So I'm hoping we get a clean sell off here to end the week. It all depends on how price responds in this area. Excellent rejection, right? You guys seeing what I'm seeing? We sweep this internal high, we jab right into this. Literally, we had this area highlighted. It's almost like you could have just put a short in this zone here and you would have been a-okay. But how I'm looking at this now is we need to start flipping these bullish candles, right? I know a lot of people are probably shorting this inversion here, but for me, I like to see the candle bodies on the 5 minute start to flip because, as I always mention, right, almost every single turning point starts with a flip of the opposing the opposing candle, right? So you can draw up trades based on that concept alone. And here, if we are able to start closing through this up close candle here, this 940 candle, then that'll open the door for lower. If this candle is not able to be closed through, then I'm probably gonna have to sit back and relax a little longer because this candle right here isn't really ideal for what I'm looking for unless we flip this candle. Otherwise, what you're seeing is we're getting 930 open, bullish candle, bullish candle, bullish candle, right? A series of bullish candles. If we're unable to take these candles out, then there's no reason for me to think that we're going to go lower just yet. All right. And then maybe we can wait for the next 30-minute uh, series of candles to print and see if it gives a bearish profile. Right now, this isn't bullish or bearish. Let's check on NASDAQ versus ES. Yeah, right now, this isn't bullish or bearish, but I think YM is giving you, well, no, not necessarily. If YM can start flipping these bearish candles, I could even start looking to buy YM. Why would I want to buy YM? We swept out these lows here. We're starting to show resistance. And also, if you notice, the previous 30-minute profile from 9 a.m. to 9:30, you see price close through bullish candles. So this should be bearish right here, right? This area right here should be bearish. If price is able to close through these bearish candles in here, that's going to tell me that this zone will flip from bearish to bullish. So let's see what happens in the next 7 minutes or so. I would love to see this go bullish, but we'll see. Doesn't really look like much other than accumulation at the moment. So you would need to see a strong closure at least through these two down close candles here. You get one candle making the sweep, you get another candle filling in this wick, and then if you can close strongly above 49.13, that'll be your accumulation manipulation type of thing, power of three as always. And you could potentially look for the breakout, retest, drive higher to sweep out those swing highs. Remember the same levels that Nasdaq swept out. I would be looking for YM to push up and sweep into this. It's the exact same protocol right here, right? It just hasn't happened yet on YM. So if you get that flip, you can get that delayed bullish profile and you should be able to carry this up to this high around 49,460. That would be fire. Especially when you notice that. Remember, I needed to see price start closing through these up close candles. What do you notice? NASDAQ, ES, both rejecting these candles, telling us we're not bearish just yet. So if we're not bearish yet, that could lead to a buy over here. I want to see this next 5 minutes here close above these highs right here. We get that, that's going to open the door for higher. Also notice the EMA starting to flip bullish. If we can just get a follow through above 930, that'll be a piece of cake, honestly. It just depends on, does it take off and run straight to the target, or does it give you a fair chance at an entry? We shall find out. All right. I'm gonna zoom back in over here on NASDAQ while we wait. I have some alerts set over here on YM, which it almost looks like it's guaranteed to happen. Like I don't see why it wouldn't happen. I could almost even buy this right here, anticipating that it's gonna happen. But you guys know me. I don't like to jump the gun. But there, as we just talked about, this should happen, right? Let's see if we get this closure in the next 3 minutes. Hopefully it doesn't just take off, but I'll check back. See, I want to know how this profile ends up closing here because I don't want to see Nasdaq close underneath these candles if we're bear I'm sorry, if we're bullish. I want to see price maintain this low. All right. If we're bearish, yeah, I'm okay with this closing through, but we shall see here. Let me save this over here. Perfect. All right, yeah, good read on price so far. Patience, patience. We should be able to catch a clean move, hopefully by 12:30, right? And then that'll finish off this week. Pretty decent week so far. Haven't taken that many trades, but the trades that have been presented have been pretty clean. Hmm. And then if you notice, if I turn on my indicators, you'll see we have this 6 p.m. open price right here, which is basically the market open. Notice how it was resistance for a bit of time, and now we're above it, and you can see that this should serve as support, ideally, to send price higher. And we're accumulating here inside of this candle's range. We have 3 candle bodies, really nice. And I think we're going to end up pushing higher. And as I mentioned, we do have more news at 10 a.m. So that could give us more volume, and that should open the door for a clean trade setup. There goes YM. 1 minute left. All right, cool. So I'll just check back in a minute or so. And if YM gives a clean profile, I'll start looking to buy YM. All right, guys. At this point, bro, I think I have to go back to the drawing board. I can't keep missing these easy trades. And it's like the best trades are the ones that give you this type of reaction. And this is the type of trades I want to catch. So I'm gonna have to figure out how to catch this. Did we not just tell you what was about to happen? Hoping that it didn't do this, it's like it almost listens to you. Like, oh, he doesn't want us to take off. He's not in the trade. Let's go ahead and rock it. Literally 500 points. Get 400 point. Get out of here, bro. All right, YM, you got it. Look at this, bro. Bro, what just happened, bro? News did not disappoint. Remember, I said 10 a.m. has some good news on the table. Look at this reaction. All the way across the board, bro. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, kid. Can't even be can't even be bothered by it. I'm gonna have to on the weekend, I'm gonna have to try and figure out how I can take advantage of these setups. How can I take advantage of these setups? I kind of want to look at yesterday real quick. Yesterday gave the same type of profile. Where was it? Where was it? Here. Let's see. So we had um where was it? Where was it? Where was it? I don't know. Oh my goodness, bro. Like, I don't get how it does this, bro. I genuinely don't, bro. I'm looking at it like, what could I have used to buy this besides my intellect? Otherwise, it would have just been no entry confirmation. It would have just been strictly understanding that we have a bearish profile right here. This bearish profile pushes into this red zone here, right? This is where you want to be looking for shorts. What happens? Price sweeps the low, which I always mention. Psychology is what the markets like to use against you. When people see this move lower, people want to short. I don't understand it, but that's just how we are when we first start trading, right? I was the same way. When you first get into trading, you see bearish candles, you want to short. And when you see bullish candles, you want to buy, right? So what happens? We show this nice 1 minute drive lower. I know a lot of people were probably shorting this rejection. Fair enough. Who cares? Once this low is taken out, the market can shift directions aggressively. And I'm looking for that type of move, right? I'm looking for a reversal. What I see is a nice doji off of this low. I see a bearish candle fill in this low and still stay within this range. If we start breaking these candles, which I had marked out, right? Notice, notice the first 5 minute closure through it was right here at 9:55. There was no chance at a pullback. Naturally, I like to wait for a pullback, but if you were to just buy this and say, well, let's see what happens and target the same area that we had on the table, this red zone, you catch 100 points in no time, right? So now that this is over with, I have to sit back and hope for a decent profile to go lower, which would start by closing through these up close candles. But as of right now, I'm actually going to look at this buy. All right. I want to see, can we hold this area right here? Why? Because it's very simple. We have a bullish closure, okay, which closed here. Well, actually, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that then. I'm not going to do that. I could, but I'm not. I'm going to chill because it's out of sequence, right? When I'm looking at this, I'm looking at a specific range of candles from 9:30 to 10 a.m., right? 10 a.m. candle doesn't count because this is after 10. This candle opened at 10 and closed at 10:05. So for the 10 a.m. range, I'm looking at the 9:55 candle because this candle closes at 10. What do you notice? This candle doesn't close through anything. The breakout happens in a new candle. So this could be a fake out. I don't want to trade that. as structure. I want to wait for this candle to print. I've seen both, right? I've seen where this you could use this zone right here. Let's see. Let's say if you zoom in here, you could use this zone. I've seen it happen. But as far as like consistency goes, I don't want to take that risk because you can see both. You can see one of two things. You can see price close through these down close candles, retest and give you a continuation, or you can see price fake out people with this first move, try to retest here, try to go higher, fail, and then end up breaking this low. And then anybody who thought this was a breakout is trapped, right? I don't want to be in that situation. So this is the setup that I would ignore. I would wait for this to play out, give it 30 minutes. So from 10 a.m. to 10:30, I would let these 5-minute candles do whatever they want to do and then play off of those candles. YM. All right, let's see what YM is telling us. YM, on the other hand, is giving you a beautiful buy setup. Why? Because if you look from 9:30 to 9:55, we actually flipped these candles before the candle closed. So I can erase this bearish zone. I can create a bullish zone down here. These bearish candles become bullish territory. And because this wick is way up here, that creates a beautiful range for price to retest, show me some bullishness, and then I would want to take it back to this range. And then essentially the previous day high would be the draw. The question is, does YM pull back all the way down in there? Probably not, just because it doesn't want us to get involved. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So what I'll do is I'll just set an alert right here because I don't really trade YM like that. I'm just looking to make sense of the price action, right? So if we're bullish across the board, we should see YM show some bullishness. And YM was a little bit delayed. So I guess maybe that was my cue. I could have bought it based on the concept that NASDAQ and ES are already bullish. YM's a little bit behind the 8 ball. So maybe you buy it anticipating this. But that's just, I'm going to have to back test that type of stuff, right? And what do you see here? You're starting to see price offer a continuation type of trade here. Oh, do I want to take this, bro? We've taken out everything. Everything I anticipated to be swept has been swept. We swept this 30-minute high. We tap into this bearish gap. We sweep this London high. We sweep this Asia high. Wait, no, that's London high. Where's Asia? 3:30 a.m. Oh, wow, that's a completely different session high. So this is London high from today. This is London high from yesterday. We sweep out all of that. We still have that previous day high, right? Yeah. So that previous day high is probably going to be where I'm going to try and target. Let's see. If this gap right here holds up on this BPR, I'll try to buy just because this is ridiculous. It's starting to get too obvious that price wants higher. And we have this bullish BPR right here. And of course, it's probably not going to feel it because I'm talking about it. Welcome to the most ridiculous price action you could ask for, bro. It's almost like this price action knows when I'm not in a trade, bro. Anytime I get into a trade, I have to sit hours through ridiculous chop and hope for TP, which I guess it doesn't matter. It don't matter whether it takes an hour, 5 hours, as long as it hits TP, right? I guess it's the same concept, but naturally, you just want to see a fair chance at something, bro. The buys over here, right? How I like to play the game, I like to play the break and retest game. You can't show me any valid break and retest so far. From 9 to 9:30, there was nothing going on. Accumulation. You get this small manipulation move, and then you get the breakout. No legitimate pullback on the higher time frame, right? pure bullishness. Now you get this subtle pullback. Bro, this is so stupid, bro. You get this subtle pullback here, and then we break through it. All right, cool. I want to see this retest right here give us a platform for a trade, which it did. It gave us a V-shaped recovery, gave us this BPR. You're not sure what a BPR is. It's just a flip of an opposing gap where you create a new gap. So we had this bearish gap flip and create a bullish gap, BPR, balanced price range. Really good sign of reversals. But the key to a BPR is you want to see it retested. So if price can drive into here like it normally would and reject it, that's a valid entry signal. You can take that with a stop below this low right here. That's 100 point. Oh my goodness gracious. I'm all right. So maybe you just try to get in a little bit closer to the gap. That's ridiculous. If you wait for the gap to fill and then show a bounce out of it and then cover this low, I'm not even gonna cover the low, bro. I'm just gonna cover these price points in here. You see these midnight price, you see this 10 a.m. price. Just put my stop below like here, like 80 points, 75, 80 points. That's normally what I like to do anyway. And then just target that previous daily high. But I didn't even notice this. Wow, ES hasn't taken that previous daily high, but NASDAQ has. And we're tapping into this gap right now. You want to buy ES here. Stop below midnight. Because NASDAQ may not fill that gap, guys. All right, let me get ready here. If I get stopped on this one, I'll be extremely patient on the next setup. But this is just looking like too obvious at this point. And the BPR, like I said, I just need a clean break and retest model. And the BPR is the break and retest. I need a clean platform. We have a beautiful platform here for higher. All right, I'm going to erase this gray zone. I know we're in bearish territory. Clean up my charts a bit. And there we go. All right, so we tap into here. And we have this BPR. Any strong reaction out of here, turn on my EMA. I want to see price recover this EMA here. And then I'll just put my stop underneath whatever low is created. So the moment we put a swing in here, I'm going to try to use that swing as my target. Really nice. All right. Did NASDAQ pull back? If NASDAQ pulls back, I would prefer NASDAQ. Yeah. Simply because NASDAQ is the stronger one. If we go side by side, you'll notice that let's hide everything. At 9:30, NASDAQ takes out this high right here, meaning NASDAQ is stronger. So NASDAQ is the one you want to be buying if this level right here holds up. So let's see. Entry price would be anything above 24,955 if it holds up, right? Let's see. And then I'm looking for like a 75-point stop, which would be 4 micros. Let's make it 5 for this setup. 4 micros. All right, cool. And then the TP would be 125 point. All right, that's that. Now let's see if we get that reaction, or is it about to dump? I'm okay with the shorts. You already know I'm a bearish cat. I am a bearish cat. So maybe we even get the short if we start flipping these. Nice. Still got 3 minutes left in this candle, so you don't want to get too caught up on Let me save this. Hold on. Yeah, there we go. Understand that this order block is still valid. So even if price pushes down into here, this could still hold. 1 minute order block. Why? Last down close candle before a nice move higher. Okay. And this is why you don't just buy fair value gaps. Fair value gaps are a scam. If you ask me, if you're not profitable and you're using IFVGs all the time, just stop using IFVGs and use order blocks. All right, so this doesn't look like it's gonna hold. Fair enough. All right. If it ends up, a sharp recovery, getting back above this 2 a.m. price, then that's telling me that price is just sweeping this low. All right. If we get comfortable underneath these lows, meaning closing multiple candles underneath this order block, then that's telling me that this setup is not worth my time. All right. So we'll see how this recovery is. I think we're still bullish because of how YM is shaping up here. We're tapping into this imbalance instead of filling in that gap. And we're probably gonna get, yeah, we're probably gonna get a really nice recovery here. It's gonna be tough because it's gonna throw off my stop loss a lot, right? I want to have a safe stop loss. If I buy this up here above this 2 a.m. Oh my goodness, look how many points this is, kid. That's a 90-point stop. And I just have to take it for what it is. Yeah, I'm gonna buy that. I am going to buy that, my friends. What price did I get here? I am filled at, this might run. Oh my goodness. 24,945, 90 point stop, which would be 3 micros. 3 micros, 24,950 essentially is my fill. 90 points, 135 point TP. That's not bad. It's a big stop, but TP is, oh, that is much more than I wanted to put on this, bro. Let's see. Let's see if it tries to run, I'm okay. But if it pulls back, I may get out of a couple contracts. This is crazy, bro. I'm not gonna cap. If this goes to TP here with no issues, this is probably the best volume we've seen all year. YM, look at this. YM giving you the same exact profile we just saw. We're looking for price to pull into this bullish area. Instead, we pull into this volume imbalance, which is fine. And then instead of, hold on, let me do this real quick. Just in case price pulls back the entry, I have to let VIP know that we are in a long. I think it will. One second, just waiting to see if we pull back or not on NQ to my entry. So this will be your BPR that we just saw on YM. I'm sorry, on NASDAQ, where price filled in that BPR after tapping into bullish territory. This one is tough. Like I said, this setup is not something that I would take all the time, but just based on how all of the markets are looking identical right now, the buys are hard to resist here. So I give it a chance. And hold on, let me zoom in here. All right, cool. 90 points is, there's no way that's, let me see if I did this here. That's, yeah, 3. 3 is correct. 3 is correct. Should pull back into this gap. It looks like price is playing hard to get now. If not, then VIP will not get this entry. I want to at least get a feel around 945, 948 max. but I don't think it's gonna pull back. It was almost there. Yeah, bro. If this runs to TP, this is by far the best volume you could ask for, especially coming off this. Like I mentioned, bro, the game plan today was very, very clean. The execution from this zone was way too quick, right? So you wait for a new platform, a new area to enter, and what happens? Price drives directly into this area, gives you this order block, breaks out, stops a little bit to make people think we're bearish, pulls back to this order block. And what did I say I wanted to see? I wanted to see this gap hold, or I wanted to see this order block hold. A lot of people who trade inversions, they're blindfolding, they don't see the order blocks behind the move. A lot of people shorted this, bro. I can guarantee you a lot of people shorted this inversion. A lot of people shorted this inversion. And it all, just slaps them in the face because, bro, the order block that created this move higher is the reason the the trade is still alive. You know what I mean? The gaps are just foreplay. This is the real deal here. And honestly, I don't want to see price pull back. You could even go break even here, but you should see at least ES take this previous day high. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put an alert on the ES previous daily high so that, oh, we already took out previous daily high. Oh, that's not good. That is not good, bro. What else is up here? I don't see anything else up here. Only thing I could say is maybe YM wants to take out previous daily high, and that's why we continue higher. But I think this is a break even trade here now. My whole analysis was built on the idea that ES hadn't taken out previous daily high yet. Oh heck yeah. I may even take this, guys. I'm floating 70 points already. 600 bucks. Yeah, I'm gonna start taking this off the table. I think I want to cut this at 500 bucks. Just because we've already taken previous daily high. What else is in this area? Let's zoom in here. I'm gonna start scaling out, so be ready for that. I don't want to give this back. And that's just me being smart here. I want to see what else is on the table before I do that. Oh, that's what it was. Okay. So we have Thursday high being taken out, but then we still have this Wednesday high with relative equal highs. All right. But 500 bucks, I'm locking that in. Get out of my face. Appreciate that. And I'll look for one more trade before I get out of here. As I mentioned, this setup is already not what I would want to trade anyway, because the previous day high is taken out. The profile that I was looking for would have been like YM. YM gives you a much better profile where you get 9 to 9:30 giving you the platform for a continuation. And then you see 10 a.m. to 10:30 tap into that platform and show you a continuation. This is the type of trade you want. However, even on YM, it doesn't give you this pullback to confirm what you're thinking, right? Right now, if you're in this trade, you like maybe, oh, let's go break even. If let's say you took this inversion, you're like, I'm gonna go break even right now. It's a bad move to go break even because this is the real area of interest. Price can tap into here and skyrocket. So going break even above here is just not good trading. Right? Price could drive into here and still be extremely bullish. Right? I like higher on YM simply because we took out this previous day low and erupted. Okay. But it doesn't have to take out this high yet. That's the scary part. If price wanted to accumulate right now, it can do so because it has already given you a massive expansion. Price could accumulate in here and then later in the day, boom, take out that high. Right. Here goes a BPR right here again. This is tough. I'm not gonna be chasing these buys, bro. I wanted to see a quick move higher. I got a piece of the pie. If I don't catch any more trades today, I'm happy with that. Easy 500 bucks right there. And this is the type of volume we need to see, bro. If we can see this, even yesterday was pretty decent. It was slow at first, but yesterday was pretty decent as well, man. If we can just keep this up, bro, trading will be fun again. Trading will be fun again. There we go. There we go. All right, nice. So that means YM should be showing some life. Nice. Imagine that, right? This would be an aggressive scalp, but this would be appropriate. Let's see if this plays out. I'm not gonna take it. Tape read this right here, but what am I seeing? I see price pull back into this area barely. As I mentioned, this volume imbalance was what stopped price from filling in this green area, which is okay because we see every other market is bullish. We can start looking for any reason to go higher. Price taps into it, gives you this BPR here, doesn't fill it, gives you another BPR here. And if you were on stream yesterday, BPRs definitely made a name for themselves with my setup. I didn't even notice them until yesterday. That's the crazy part. I went back and I looked at my journal and I was surprised. BPRs were in every single setup for the most part. So normally what I would do is I would see price driving here and I would want to see a market structure shift. So technically this wouldn't be something that I would be buying because it didn't break a high yet. However, just like over here, we see, let's zoom in 1 minute, right? So if I was using my initial approach, this is where I would be looking for a pullback, right? As long as we don't take this high, I want to see price drive into my bullish area, create a market structure shift, which, like I mentioned, this is your market structure shift right now. And then I would want to see price pull back into some sort of order block. So this would have been one right here. Why? This is a down close candle before a nice move higher. This is where I would want to see price continue. And then you have this order block right here that could also support price and send it higher. So this is where I would be if I didn't use that BPR. This BPR was beautiful. We saw this BPR form, waited for the fill, waited for a reaction, buy it here, tight stop. Well, not even. I had like a 90-point stop. I think I got in a little bit early so that I could catch a 90-point stop underneath here. And I caught, yeah, like 80 points. Yeah, somewhere up in here, 75, 80 points. Just understanding that we are in bearish territory. I don't want to get too comfortable holding these buys. And I want to wait for a legitimate buy profile. All right. So if I clean this up, you're going to see what I'm talking about here. From 10:30, I'm sorry, from 10 to 10:30, what do you guys notice? I'm looking for candles to show aggressive closures through previous candles. Do you see anything like that? No. This is accumulation. This entire wick is control. I'm sorry, this entire candle right here, the first 5 minutes of this 10 a.m. candle is controlling all of this price action. I don't want to be trading that. All right. And look, YM stops you out. Maybe put your stop underneath midnight. I don't know. But YM is accumulating here. Let's see if the 5 minute gives us any clues. All right. So that trade idea would have been a stop out. But it doesn't change the idea of higher. Right. So let's look. Same thing going on over here, bro. I don't see any dominance in this candle. This candle's going to close bullish. But if we're bullish, always keep in mind if you're in a bullish candle closure on the higher time frame, look at this strong bullish closure. You want to see lower time frame structures support bullishness. 5 minute chart is not supporting anything bullish. Why would I say that? Because these bearish candles are not being closed through yet. So this is what I would call a ghost candle, where price shows you something bullish on the higher time frame, but the lower time frame is telling you it's actually not that bullish. If you really want to get technical, this is more bearish than bullish because we have yet to close through any bearish candle. We tried twice here. 5 minute push failed. 5 minute push failed. This candle range right here makes price bearish as of right now. Until we break here, there's no reason for you to be buying it. I would much rather. This sucks, bro, because now we have to wait. I have to wait for a completely new 30-minute profile, which is fine, but it's just gonna kill some time here. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna sit back. Even though we know we're bullish right now, you gotta understand that that could change in a heartbeat. Price can decide, I don't want to break this 10-10 high. I actually want to just go lower. Is that okay with you guys? And then everybody else agrees, and then it just dumps. All right. And notice we are in this beautiful bearish territory. We tap right into the zone that I mentioned earlier, and look what happens. Immediate rejection. Now we're getting accumulation. So now we can expect some sort of manipulation for the power of three. Okay, so I do think this high is really, really nice. Okay, I really do, simply because of how this high was put in. We had this profile here, bearish candles. We close through those bearish candles, retest those bearish candles, maintain these bearish candles, and start trending higher. All we did was generate internal liquidity here where price could sweep out these lows and then go right back to the high. Okay, so I'm still leaning more bullish here, but it's not something you would trade right now based on how I see it, right? Somebody else may be longing this right now, but based on how I read price moves in 30-minute cycles. Price is fractal, so like 30-minute, hourly, 2 hour, 4 hour, 8 hour, 16, on and on, right? I'm only looking for a 30-minute cycle when I'm day trading. And when I'm swing trading, I'm looking at more of a like 4 hour cycle or a daily cycle, all the way up to like a yearly cycle, right? So, but said the Supreme Court says all tariff action is illegal. Oh, that's big. What happened to crypto then? Did crypto show any life? Nope. Crypto's fighting for its life over here still. Let's see what crypto is offering here. Crazy. Wow. That's big. I wonder what they're gonna do about the illegal tariffs. Like, who does that, bro? Who undermines the president and says that tariffs are illegal? How could a tariff be illegal? You set a price on what they want to buy from you. If they agree to pay it, it's not illegal. But hey, man, Supreme Court is literally causing uproar for no reason, bro. Because now the president's gonna have to say something. He's gonna get into it with the government. I'm sorry, with the Supreme Court and blah blah blah. But Bitcoin 10 to 10:30, I'm not seeing anything. 9 to 9:30. I'm sorry, 9:30 to 10. Same profile, right? But you're seeing that accumulation. I think we're gonna end up going lower here, especially with that news. Price is accumulating at the wrong spot. This is not where you want to see accumulation, kids, especially in this bearish territory after sweeping out so much liquidity. So I'm actually going to delete this bullishness, and I don't think we're going to be bullish. I think we're going to get a beautiful sell here, especially with that news, bro. Good call. I didn't even know they were doing that today. But what are you noticing, right? We're closing through bullish candles while maintaining this bearish range. This is a beautiful sell profile on YM right now as we speak. YM Super nice here, right? Yeah. YM is nice. Bro, this might be a short right now. Let's see. Why would I say that, right? I say we haven't tapped into here yet. We hit this volume imbalance, tried to go higher, we fail. What do you notice here? We see this up close candle get closed through. I'm sorry, I take that back. That sucks. I keep doing that. 1030 closures through certain levels aren't the same as a closure through a bullish candle inside of this 30-minute range. So now I'm just gonna chill. Yeah, I don't want to jump the gun on the shorts because this could easily push up a little more based on what type of profile we're seeing right now. All right, so I'm gonna sit back here. I'm gonna erase all this bullishness. Maybe this order block can stay, but in this BPR, so I remember exactly what the bullish profile was leaning on. However, notice we're falling back underneath these session levels and price is stuck right now. Yeah, we're chilling. We're chilling. If it wants to go higher, I don't think it's worth the stress to buy this. Give it a few minutes. Maybe this bullish candle closes and then you start seeing price close through these bullish candles in this new 30-minute cycle. And then I'll be looking for the retest to go lower. All right. And then vice versa. If price wants to go higher here, I just need to see it start flipping bearish candles again. And I'll be hip for higher. Just gotta be careful with these buys, bro. These buys are a scam. Anyway, great read on price. We are picking up steam here. Great job being patient, man. Great job being patient. Candles are vanishing here. This BPR looks like it's trying to do some damage. So this level right here, remember this was the BPR you wanted to see get filled. It's filling in that BPR now. You're getting a flip of the EMA, flip of this weekly open. Yeah, this looks like another potential buy signal here on YM. This is the better buy signal. The one up here is like you're gambling, hoping it doesn't pull back into here based on this gap fill here. But this is where you would essentially want to buy if you're bullish. I'm not going to take it. I'm going to put this on here as a tape read, but we tap into this volume imbalance. BPR created. We maintain this high right here. Price didn't want to take this high. 5-minute chart, you notice that none of these bullish candles are being closed through inside of this 30-minute range, which is a bullish algorithm. All right. Even though we aren't closing through bearish candles, we aren't closing through bullish candles either. So you would look for some sort of confirmation to buy. If you're aggressive here, you could buy this. You know me, I'm not aggressive. I am more of a like break and retest trader. I don't like to be aggressive on my entries. So here, I would have wanted this gap to be tested inside of, what time is it? We had boom, boom, boom. Yeah, I would have wanted this to just offer a fast move here. Because it's taking so long, it starts to look like a scam, right? So I'll put this here as a tape read, maybe like a B setup, C plus setup, and see what happens. If we're bearish, we need to see this right here get close through. That'll be the start of the bearish move. And notice we're still maintaining this upper wick of this bearish candle here. So we are chilling. I would love to see a sell off here. Let's sit back here. I'm gonna put some notes on the screen. This was a beautiful setup. I wish we ended up taking this high, but we'll see if it actually can do it. We're still holding this order block, tapped into it, showed a little bit of life. We're getting to pull back into this 1 minute gap, and it looks like it's holding, bro. I think it's gonna keep going. But give it another 20 minutes or so, and then check back on the charts. You'll be surprised. Imagine if we just dump from here. This is looking good. This move right here looks good. YM should be pushing as well. Not really, bro. I don't know. We'll see. Get off that 1 minute chart so you don't get tricked into doing something stupid and just look at the 5 minute, right? We're starting to close through this down close candle here, but you'll notice ES has not closed through it yet. So yeah, we're chilling, guys. Go ahead, drop a like if you will. If you guys are having a decent session so far. I'm up about 500 bucks across my accounts. And we haven't really been able to catch the real move yet. So that's what we're waiting for. I'm waiting to see if I can figure out if price is truly bullish or bearish here and then catch the delivery and then let my VIP members get in on that action as well. Yeah, this looks like it's going to run here. But why isn't YM showing any life? Could be scam activity on the way, man. So hands off the mouse. I'm about to put a note here and I'm going to make something to eat real quick. What time would that be? 11 a.m. There goes that push. Really nice. YM, are you coming to life? There you go. So now if you really wanted to buy YM, give it a stab here. You're looking for a nice move higher. We'll see if this plays out. I'm not going to take it. I'm just going to sit back. I'm going to wait for 11. Put these two side by side here. They look identical. This is amazing. Lately, price has been so all over the place. You don't see this, but beautiful. Beautiful, my friends. All right, cool. I'll be right back. All right, so starting to see a bit of exhaustion, right? We close this 30-minute candle with SMT. We take out this 10 a.m. high on NAS. We haven't taken that 10 a.m. high out on ES. If price can start closing through bullish candles here, like a closure through here, then you can start looking for a short back into this zone. All right, YM is also showing exhaustion. Not sure what's taking YM so long to go higher. Still haven't taken out this liquidity here. And that's starting to become a red flag. Looks like price is exhausted essentially. A strong closure through these one of these up close candles here could start putting in a top, and I'll start looking for lower potentially just to see price retest here, right? I can't buy it here because I want to be buying inside of this green zone. And if price wants to start shorting back into it, I could play that short. However, it would like you would almost just want to see YM stop kidding around here and just blast off. And that'll confirm pretty much everything that's been presented so far. If not, right, if this does not end up taking this high, then that tells you you should be aiming for this low right here instead. So I can just drag this over like this. So clearly, right, that's the range we're working in. Either price is going to push to this high or it's going to start flipping back towards this low. If it wants this low, I will be more than happy to start trading shorts. I need to see these candles right here get close through. If so, that's going to be nice. Same thing here. If price wants to go bearish off of this, you could see price trade back into here. This first down close candle of this 30-minute candle expansion. That would be the game plan. And if that doesn't hold, then you have literally midnight price. And if price clears midnight price, then you might as well go ahead and start looking for that weekly open or pre-market low, 930 low. But we'll see. The waiting game is officially back in action. Waiting game is officially back in action, man. If you guys are just now tuning in, we've only taken one trade so far. I caught the buys in here somewhere for about 500 bucks. And now we're looking to see, does price want to flip bearish or is it going to continue this uptrend? The Supreme Court ruled against the tariffs that Trump's imposing, which could cause a sell-off here. And I think it will. Like, chances are, right? Unless price maybe decides to accumulate today or go higher today, and then Monday you see like a gap lower. You know, that type of stuff happens. Crypto seems to be decent right now. What does it look like on this profile here? All right, so 30-minute profile is telling you to buy crypto if this retest maintains. All right, you got this bullish area here. Down close candle. See, this is a true bullish candle, right? If I see on the 30-minute chart and I say, how did this candle close? Nice, it closed bullish. Let's look at the structure. Does it match a bullish candle? It does. We have a down close candle being flipped. Beautiful bullish profile. So if price were to drive into here and show any 1 minute market structure shift higher, I should respect that. And I should think price is actually going to continue. But the $1 million question is, does it actually give a market structure shift? Or do you see price just slam through this area and use it as a counter trend? That's the name of the game. Wait and see. but you have to have valid areas of interest, right? So if you guys don't learn anything from me, hopefully you guys learn how to find a valid point of interest for your trade ideas. That's where it all begins, right? All right, nice. You get a decent bearish closure right there. We need to start closing underneath this red box, underneath this 5-minute candle range. A 5-minute closure would set the tone for lower. And then I'll go from there. So that's what I'm waiting for. I'm going to watch NASDAQ. It's just been really clean on NASDAQ today. Clean up my chart here. And if I look to my left, we have taken out this high. So let me mark that off. Liquidity has been taken here. Nice subtle sweep there. Not much above other than, here, I'm going to do this. I'm going to move this zone up to the next 5-minute supply zone, which would be right here. So pretty much tapped into all the bearish areas of interest so far. Now we want to see, does price want to keep pushing to the next bearish area, or is price ready to retrace and rebalance this overextension? Massive overextension. 50% of this range would be way back down here underneath both session levels. So let's see, man. Boom, boom, boom. All right, yeah. So about an hour and a half left in my streaming window today. YM, are you actually going to take off now? YM playing hard to get, but as we mentioned, you got the bullish profile. You got to drive as close to it as possible. You got the flip. You got, if you're waiting for a market structure shift, you got that here. Once that market structure shift happens, you find some order blocks to trade off of. You have one here, and then you have one here. It looks like these two order blocks are going to be catalysts. You pick the lowest one. This down close candle right here seems to be working out just fine here. I would anticipate that this continues higher, but because it's slowing down, you have to start considering that maybe price could flip, right? It's either going to be a really slow move higher, or it's going to be a accumulation with a sharp move lower, right? So we just want to sit back. I'm not going to take this one, but this is a decent trade idea if you ask me. If I was forced to take a trade right now, I would buy this. But because I'm not forced to do anything, let's see what happens here and keep our eyes over here for that confirmation of a potential short playing field. All right, zoom in on NASDAQ. And the weight is back on. 40 seconds. It looks like we might close under here. Let's see what happens. And there it is, right? You see how the sequence of price is consistent. Whether you get an entry or not, that's a different story. But did we not say if price closes through here, we should be looking for shorts back to this green zone? And then what do you know? Price closes through it and immediately trades back into this zone over here on ES. But it's tough, right? It's very tough. We might get a buy here. It just depends, right? Let's see what happens here. I'm reading YM to try to get an extra edge on like where price is truly trying to go. Because if you look here, these bullish candles, we haven't broken those. These bearish candles, we haven't broken those. So now I'm watching this right here, right? This candle right here. Does YM give you that closure underneath as well? Let's find out. We have about a minute and a half left. So far, the shorts look really good. NASDAQ has not hit this level yet. So I want to keep that short bias. ES does drive into it, so I got to be careful. That's why I'm looking for more confluence with this idea. But as I mentioned, we're in bearish territory. We just got really bearish news regarding the tariffs and those being ruled illegal. And you see price showing exhaustion. You see SMT at the high. So I could almost start to say that, well, maybe these shorts, right? I'm sorry, maybe these longs right here are just about to get absorbed and broken. You can start to anticipate that, right? Even though there's a bullish profile sitting right in front of me, I can start to anticipate that maybe this won't hold up. If it does give me a really genuine reaction, then I have to respect it. But any sign that this level won't hold, I want to start looking for lower. Okay, there we go. What are you noticing? YM is refusing to break these bullish candles. I think we're going to end up going back higher. Now that ES taps into here, you could have SMT off of this green zone. And if you extend this zone here, for example, if I were to extend this green zone to the next down close candle, this right here could be considered a retest, right? So let's drop into here, start looking for that BPR, start looking for that market structure shift. I'll mark off this gap here as a potential BPR level that drives into here. But I'm still, like I said, I'm bearish until I have no choice but to buy, right? Right now, looks like we're still working on a bearish profile. If YM can do exactly what we just saw here, I think we're gonna get. It's starting to get a little bit too overextended now, guys. You're gonna be forced to look for a buy because you want to short from these up close candles at the extremes, right? This is the optimal entry. Price doesn't have to pull all the way back up here to go lower. We already know that. You know, price could pull back literally into this gap and go lower. But I've decided this year I just want optimal trades so I can get in my trades and walk away and let them play out, knowing that if my stop loss is above here, it should never get hit before TP. If it does, then that means that I was just in the wrong trade. If I accept a short in here, I understand that I have to cover this high. Whereas if you get in here, you try to cover any high in here, you can get stopped out and the trade could still be bearish, right? So it's tough, man. I may end up shorting YM because I don't like how far away we're getting here. But similar to yesterday's short, it literally gave us this and then pulled all the way back and was gracious enough for us to get in before it continued to dump. So can't count these shorts out just yet. It might actually pull back. So we'll see here. Really strong move. This candle's about to close in 10 minutes. So let's let that do what it wants to do for the next 10 minutes here. And then we'll get a better read on price. This bullish candle is holding up nicely here. I like the wick. 2 minutes left in this candle. Let's see if this one wicks or does it actually close through. If it closes through, then yeah, we're either going to short the ES or NQ or probably end up shorting YM. A minute. One. No gaps in there. Got this gap right here. Come on, bro. I wish it would have let me get involved on this short here. It's funny because I guess technically you did get like a 1 minute. This would have been too early for me to take the short, but you see right at the start, once we close through here at 11:05, you're gonna see a break of structure. We take out this low. See the wick lower, quick wick lower at 11:05. Turns right back into this up close candle here. So this is really where your selling pressure is, right here. Price takes this low, pushes right back into here and starts to turn. That's a very aggressive short signal if you want to short it prematurely. I don't like to do that because price ends up on the best setups, price ends up giving you a break and retest almost every single time on the higher time frame. So with this 5 minute break, I'm anticipating a retest now that we break this low. Right. So yeah, I don't think we're gonna end up going too much lower here. It looks like we're just absorbing shorts, or not necessarily absorbing. The shorts are delivering into a place where buyers can take over. We just fall right into this area here. And as we mentioned, right, that's a signature for a reversal. So maybe you could have been aggressive on this, knowing that price just overextended into bearish territory. Look for an aggressive 1 minute reversal. Looking for a market structure shift to go higher, which would be this level here as of right now. Hmm. Same thing here. This level puts in a new low. We flip that. That'll be the start of what I want to see. YM. Okay, there we go. All right. The tables are turning here, guys. We are closing through right on time. This 30-minute candle is going to close here, and I believe this is what we're going to get. I'm going to draw up this idea here, and I'm going to see if I can get involved on the shorts. All right, massive SMT off of this 10 a.m. high across all of the indexes. Beautiful. We got a bearish sentiment that was released where Trump's tariffs have been ruled illegal. All right. And that was like 20, 30 minutes ago. And immediately price stops showing strength and starts showing weakness. And here we get our first break of structure on the 5 minute. All I'm looking to catch is a retrace and a drive lower. That's all I want to see here. Anything else will not get my attention. Looking at the NASDAQ, here we are, completely free falling now. All right, so this is where you're likely to see a bounce out of this green zone to fill in something bearish and then continue lower. I'm going to zoom in on NASDAQ here and see what we can do. NASDAQ and YM, you two are on the board here. Let's see if we can catch a play. And then looking at this in here, this was at 110. So the first 15 minutes of that candle is what was pretty much setting up that short. Put the black line there to let me know anything under this black line is fair play for lower. I want to see price driving here, sweep something once we open this new 30-minute candle. So I'm not going to do anything until I see 11:30 open higher, sweep something, get underneath this black line, show me it's okay underneath it, and then I'll try the short. Anything else I can't really manage. Like if it wants to free fall here, so be it. Can't trade that. And then over here, this is tough as well because there's a ton of up close candles being flipped. Price can drive into any one of these. So I'm going to keep my eyes open for an aggressive short, right? Because of what time it is, right? It's 11:30. I know price may not pull all the way back to this red zone like I want it to and then short. So let's say price pulls back into this candle range right here, or something like this. If I extend this area like this, right? Let's say price pulls back into the lower half of this red zone here and break structure. My eyes have to respect what's going on. If we pull back and respect any bearish gaps or blah, 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 I'll try that short and know that if I get stopped out, it'll be because price pushes into this up close candle and gives you another short. So I would essentially look to short twice in that scenario. All right, we got this candle here, 15-minute candle. So yeah, this is where I want to be short. Price could push back into this 15-minute price here. We already did it once. Notice how this 15-minute candle slams off of the previous 15-minute closing price. Very important level, as you can see. If we can get, oh, there's a gap sitting right there, guys. Bearish gap sitting right next to this 15-minute level. So that right there gets my attention. Got some internal highs here. Yeah, I think we're going to get a short from this level right here, particularly. Boom, boom. And then really let it ride, find some liquidity, which would be midnight price, perfect level here for shorts. Short it back to the midnight price. See what happens from there. All right. Let's see what 11:30 has for us. All right, let's watch the algorithm work here. Let's see if 11:30 can open up and drive directly into the fair value gap, the breaker structure that was left by this previous 30-minute candle. And as always, if you see a bearish candle, bullish candle, you investigate to see, is this legitimately a bearish candle? Go to 11 o'clock, drop to the 5-minute chart, and I say, yes, this is bearish. We've started the flip of a ton of bullish candles here, showing me that this bearish candle actually has legit structure. Now, when I see price drive into this area, I have a few things in mind. First of all, 50% of this range is always a good spot. What do you notice? What do you notice? 50% is literally sitting right at the same level we want to see get tested. All right. So that's one piece of the puzzle, a discount. Next, you want to see the new 30-minute candle show aggression and speed back to where you're looking for price to go. That's exactly what we see here. YM, let's go look at 50% here as well. And I'm using YM as a reference point. I usually don't trade YM, but sometimes NASDAQ will take off too fast and YM will give you a better chance at the trade idea. So you trade YM instead, right? That's the one reason I like to follow it now. Normally, I don't care for YM, but NASDAQ will move too fast sometimes and leave without me. And then YM will let you get in on the ride and carry you to TP. So here we are tapping into this gap here beautifully. Previous daily highs sitting in here. I'm going to erase some of these lines. They're not as important anymore now that we've seen what we wanted to see. And my target is going to be at least this low right here. So I'm going to just clean this up a little bit so I can see it. All right. So at least this low right here will be my draw. All right. And I'm just looking for price to push into here anywhere within this sell off and offer a market structure shift or some sort of BPR. So let's see. Let's see, my friends. Let's see. %50 is here. We got this imbalance there. I really don't want to see it try and turn here, bro. Don't do this. I won't. I won't take it. I don't want to see price try and start going short here simply because we haven't hit this level up above yet. Right. And if you understand how price works, if price tries to sell off here and takes this low, it could literally just be inducing sellers early. Whoever likes to trade inversions, you know what I mean? You could invert this gap, take this low, and then literally turn around to sweep this high. So all it did was create this internal high in front of the true POI. And then you try to short that, you get stopped out, price pushes above right through your stop loss. And then next thing you know, it dumps and sells off. And you're like, oh, bro, it just stopped me out and went to TP. It's just, or or the inversion trader gets this short, it takes out that gap and just dumps, right? Those those are possible scenarios. I refuse to short this if it wants to short right now. That's just me. YM, I want to see you do the same, bro. Just keep going higher. Good job so far. 11:30 immediately opens higher, creates this bullish gap. Let's respect this gap. Continue to trend into bearish territory and then respect that bearish territory, go lower. And I am hip for a short. See what the chat room is up to. Yeah, there you go. 65 trades. Nice. President Trump says he has to do something about the courts after Supreme Court's rule against him. Goldman Sachs says Supreme Court ruling won't end tariffs except Trump's administration to use alternative legal framework. So basically what they're saying is the ruling on these tariffs really won't stop anything right away. May take some time. Trump's still going to do whatever he wants. So what do you guys notice here, right? We're starting to accumulate right before this level, which makes it even better. You want to see price accumulate, manipulate, distribute, power of three once again, right? The power of three is just a psychological approach. Power of three is a timing approach. If you're struggling at trading, it's probably not because you don't know where price is going. It's because you don't know how to time up your entry. That was what I was dealing with for the longest when I first started. Timing, timing, timing. Power of three is a timing mechanism. Learn it, try it out, build your trading personality around it, and you'll start to see that, oh, well, maybe trading isn't that hard. Maybe trading isn't that tough. Trading really only gets tough for me when price decides either A, to not go anywhere all day, like to sit in one range all day long and pretend like it's going places, or B, price just takes off without you. And then it kind of forces you to make make decisions that you normally wouldn't make because you feel like you're just getting left behind all the time. Those two scenarios right there are what I've been working on doing better with. But anything outside of that, I pretty much catch the move if there is a move to be caught. Here we are, driving right back into this bearish candle, right back into a discount. I thought I cleared this up. I guess I didn't. I'll keep the sessions on there. That liquidity is fine. Where did I put my draw at? I know I just did this. It's crazy. It's gone. I want to see price drive into here. Like I said, I don't know where the level went. That's your draw. Midnight price should be down here. Yeah, that's your draw. Erase a lot of this stuff here. All right, here we go. Let the games begin. Really nice, man. Really nice. Really nice. We did tap into midnight on ES. If this gets ran through, I'm gonna wrap it up for today. There's no reason for me to be looking for any more setups. It's tough because sometimes you get really, really good setups at like 2 p.m. or 2:30, 3 p.m. I just don't think it's worth it being on the charts all day. It's very important to just have a life outside of trading. Otherwise, you're setting yourself up for a lifetime of struggling. You know, every second you spend on the charts is like a psychological battle. The markets are built to try and make you do something stupid. So it's important to just limit your chart time. Unless you're good at it. Some people have a personality that allows them to just sit on the charts all day. I'm not that, you know, not that type of trader. Boom, boom, boom. All right, yeah. So we're officially at a discount. We're officially in this strike zone here. Right, yep. And I'm looking for a price to either break structure or create some sort of BPR, as we mentioned earlier. I also would like to see this high maintain here. This nice turn here looks pretty clean. If we want to sweep it, that's fine, but you want to see a sharp move back inside of this red zone if we do break it. Here we go. Looks like Nasdaq is gonna push all the way up into the zone like it should. There we go. Really nice. Really nice. Pushing into this fair value gap. Anything in this area is fair play now. And I love the power of three here. Why? 1130 doesn't bother going lower at all. It immediately drives higher. Okay. Opening the door for that power of three move. It doesn't happen all the time, but when the power of three shows, it's too clean to ignore. I'm looking at these lows. Look at how clean these lows are. Look how many highs have been taken out in comparison to lows that have been taken out. We take out a ton of highs here, and then we leave the lows. So technically, if you really want to be a sniper, this low right here should be smashed. I won't need all of that. Like, let's say I get a short underneath this black line, which is where I'm going to be shorting. And then I can cover this high at 70 points. I can go like 85 points, right? So I can catch literally 1.5 well before this level. But if you wanted to hold, you could catch 2.5 times your investment here. 230 points would be appropriate, technically. Sad part is you don't know how long it's going to take to get there. But there's going to be times where it literally just flushes all the way through. Similar to this move here where we just rip from point A to point B, 200, 300, 400 plus points. All right, so now it's the waiting game. As long as this area right here maintains, I'm locked in on the bearish bias. Nothing else makes sense to me right now. Here we go. We drive up to this high. We have another fair value gap formed here. Start zooming in here. Let's get technical. Let's get surgical. See who else is online while we wait. I don't really see anybody else streaming right now. 11:45. We have about an hour left on stream. Price is pushing into a bearish area of interest, and I'm hoping to get the flip here. This is a deep drive here. Very deep drive. ES still within that range as well. Nice. I'm not really seeing any fair value gaps. Oh, there's one right there. Nice fair value gap, actually. Excellent. Does that align with ES? It does. Volume imbalance, fair value gap, another gap here. All right, here we go. This is what you call an overextension. This is almost making the short look 99.9% probable. This is way, way too overextended. Who are you trying to fool here? Looks like Price wants to fool every retailer into thinking that it's bullish. And then it'll crash. It's crazy, bro. And that's why I say the power of three is so important. Like, you got to realize the power of three is essentially a battle between faking you out and paying you out. If you let these fake outs get you, you'll never be a good trader. But if you start to understand that the fake outs are a part of the real move, mostly almost every good move starts with a good fake out. You know what I mean? Like, even here, this move lower, there was people thinking this was going to just short. This is a fake out. And this looks just like a fake out. Like, if I had to draw up a fake out, it would look just like this. and you just want to see some sort of up close candle start flipping, right? We haven't closed through any bullish candle so far. So until that happens, hands off the mouse, hands off the trading button, I should say. Bullish gap holding up, bullish order block holding up. Crazy speed higher here. Starting to see some exhaustion on YM. Starting to see some exhaustion here on the indexes as well, the other ones. Got this fair value gap here. And like I mentioned, this level must be cleared. I don't want to short unless we break through this 15-minute closing price. So I don't really care for anything until that happens. And then once that happens, you can use this short-term high instead of putting your stop above this high, which you probably will do anyway. I'll do it anyway because it's not that far from it, right? You go 60 points here, then you go 75 there. Why not just do 80, 85 points to be safe? Because if you're right on this move, it'll go well beyond 80 points. Well beyond 80 points. So All right, cool. So what do you guys notice? Price decided to use this entire 30-minute candle and doesn't bother taking out any liquidity here at the bottom of this 30 minutes. So if I go to 30-minute chart, I guess we did sweep that 30-minute low. Well, that does count as something. However, this entire 30-minute candle decides to overextend, right? There's no pullbacks involved in this candle. So I'm going to be looking to trade that pullback in the next 30-minute candle. All right. And this will be a 30-minute sell signal, 60-minute pullback, right? You got the 30-minute structure printed. You got a 30-minute pullback, cool. And I'm looking for the next 30 minutes to offer a delivery lower, and that'll be a 90-minute cycle where it was 30 minutes to build structure, 30 minutes to retest and climb higher. And then you got the last 30 minutes, I want to see price offer a delivery lower. This level here will be your market structure shift. We make a new high. I want to see price flip that, take out this low, flip these bullish gaps, print bearish gaps, and then I'm on board for the short. YM already starting to look pretty clean here. 12 o'clock is right around the corner, so you might as well just wait for that new 30-minute candle to open because you're likely going to see power of three once again, where a new cycle opens and it opens higher before it goes lower. So let's see. YM breaks underneath this dotted line here. That's essentially a sell signal in itself since we've already created a BPR. There it is. What do you know? Look at all that pressure. This is a sell signal right now. You could short YM right here, right now. Stop up in here. You do want to see a closure, but at this point, price is price has been moving very fast. So there goes your short signal. All right, so cool. Yeah. The closure underneath here, I'm just going to try to short just because I don't want to get left out of this one. When we get the market structure shift, we get the inversion. The one thing I don't see is a BPR. So naturally, I want to see price take out this low and pull back into the extremes here. However, if we start breaking here, that's going to tell me that price may not get there. So I'm looking for shorts right around 71s. A nice closure here, maybe 70s, 25, 70 closure underneath the black line, and I'm okay with the short. I need to wait on the closure though. I remember earlier in the week, I got chopped out because I didn't want to wait for the closure. So give me like 5 points underneath 65. I'll tighten my stop to this high exactly here, 75 points. And I'm looking at an entry around 64s, 65s. 75 points would be 4 micros. I'll make this like 6 because I like this trade. And there goes your closure underneath. Let's see if it tries to run here. Yeah, it looks like it's going to try to run. Yeah, let me get in there. 66. And 24,000. 4 micros. Right, 75 points covers that high. About 80 points for safety here. 80 points. And I'm looking for at least midnight price or a 10 a.m. price. So yeah, 1.5 R would be 120. All right, cool. All right. YM should be bleeding. There it is. YM is bleeding. We'll see which one ends up giving the best delivery. YM never takes out this high. So YM should be the one that shorts the best, to be real. If YM can continue bearish, I'm going to set some alerts down into here. I want to see this green zone get tapped into. Boom, boom, boom. This would be a 3R trade if you take YM instead of NQ. However, you guys know, like I said, YM is just something I trade if NASDAQ isn't giving me what I want to see. But looks like every single chart is in sync here. We're getting a closure through this key level here. Start putting in some stops. Tight stop here. And I want to see move back towards midnight price. Like I said, this is your drawdown here, 900s. However, I'm okay with 1.5, you know, nothing too crazy here. And this low will be TP1, where maybe you go break even once this low's taken type of thing. You know what I mean? So this is where I walk away. And because I'm walking away, I'm going to give myself, like I said, like a few points here of breathing room for any stupid shenanigans that price may have up its sleeve. And everything has been checked off the list. I've seen everything I could ask for. So the rest is up to price. Let's see if we get a good delivery. So far, so good. I like how this 30-minute candle did the same thing here. We didn't even bother going lower here before going higher. Same thing here. We did not bother going higher at all. We immediately go lower. And maybe we see the same type of algo that we saw up. We could see the same algo go down and sweep this low. I'll set alerts at this low here. And I will check back in a few. Add an alert here for ES as well. And then YM. YM is probably going to be the better one just because of how weak it's been all day. But we'll see how it compares to NASDAQ once the trade is done. And then I have this level highlighted for an alert as well. All right. Trade is in. I will be back whenever this is done. If 12:30 hits before the trade is done, what I'll do is I'll just post the trade result in the chat room. So once the stream is over, you can check in the chat room to see how the trade played out. All right. If you agree with these shorts, drop a like. Let's charge up the shorts, man. Charge up the shorts, drop a like, and let's see what happens here. All right, that was quick. Here we go. So I think I'm gonna lock this. It just depends on how YM is looking. Look at this. So we break the draw on YM. I'm looking at ES here to be safe. I want to see if we can blast through this low because midnight price is actually really close. I'm actually gonna take this, guys. 1200. Can we get 14? Can we get 14? What about 13? 13, 14 TP. And we're out of there. TP out. You see, like if this didn't win you over, if this didn't convince you that the power of three is the only thing you need, I don't know what to tell you. And just like that, we're done right before 12:30. Perfect setup. 1.5 R, 80 points TP. And let me update VIP real quick. Legit. Perfect. All right, cool. So yeah, I'm gonna TP out here and wrap it up. Let's see if you guys like the stream. Oh, there you go. That's what it was. You guys dropped the likes and the shorts delivered for us. Um, yeah, not much else to say here, guys. This was textbook, great patience. I would love to see Price end up taking out all of these lows here and potentially even this low, right? But you never know if Price is going to decide to range or whatever the case may be. So you got to be careful, right? But this is a perfect target, the short-term low from this previous 30-minute candle. We get a 30-minute setup, 30-minute retracement, and we get a 15-minute delivery. So I would say that for the next 15 minutes, price could even continue lower if it wants to, right? Offer that 90-minute turnaround, 30, 60, 90, something like this. And with this type of concept, right, you can see why the 1 minute chart is pretty much useless to be sitting on here trying to scalp every single move when you can just wait for the power of three and then go to the 1 minute to get your entry. The first market structure shift was all we needed. We had a level here that needed to be broken before you think about shorts. We break it, we short it, it plummets. All right, I'm gonna drop this in the chat and you guys enjoy your weekend. Phenomenal, phenomenal finish to this week. Two bangers. That's gonna do me well. And you just gotta keep that momentum going, keep that patience throughout the entire month, and then so on and so forth, right? Let me go ahead and do this after put on some executions here. Right. It's a lot bigger. This is a massive move. Doesn't really look like it, but it was. And cool. Hope you guys learned something new today. Hope you guys took advantage of the markets today. And oh no, not that. And YM, honestly, I think YM deserves to be on my hit list after today because that delivery was much, much, much better than what's happening over here. We see YM give you literally 1 to 4 in the same amount of time, right? So YM was weaker, so it made sense for you to short YM. Like I said, I don't normally trade it, but I think this is enough to win me over. So next week, if I see this scenario, I'm taking YM instead. just because of the logic behind it, right? The logic, you want to short the weaker asset. You want to short the weaker asset, and the weaker asset was YM, and the weaker asset gives you a much more aggressive short. 60 points is all you needed to risk to cover this red zone, right? You get an internal setup here on the 1 minute BPR, and you break through this. Or maybe this is your short here. Once you break through this dotted line here, I understand that shorts can definitely take off. So maybe like a 70-point stop. Yeah, that's more like it. You get 1.3 or 1 to 3 R, I should say. Nice. All right. All right. Cool. So I will catch you guys on Monday. Take care. God bless. Work on yourself. One thing I heard this week, I watch a lot of like Bible talk and, life talk about character and stuff. One thing that really, really hit home for me, just in general, like you want your public life to, match your private life. So in other words, you don't want to be going against the grain in either part of your life, match up what you do on your own time, your free time, make sure it aligns with what's in the Bible. And then publicly, same thing. You want to be able to profess and be a good example, bro. So weekend, find ways to learn, find ways to improve, bro. Real life and trading, right? I honestly think trading is a spiritual battle just as much as it is psychological. You know what I mean? You're fighting yourself, you're fighting your flesh on these charts. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to FOMO. FOMO is just like real life, bro, where you do things you shouldn't do because it just feels like you should in that moment. But that's my spiel for today. Take care, guys. God bless. I'll catch you guys on Monday.